back at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. Big appreciation for everybody that is joining us out there in radio, video, YouTube, the web at BaltimorePositive.com. This guy is a recurring figure around here. He hosts a little radio. It's been a little while. It's been about 36 weeks, however long it's been since we've had a week where we have a football game going on. Dennis Koulatsos joins us now. He'll be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, driving you home. Then, of course, getting you ready on Sunday morning for, I think it's going to be Joe Flacco, right? Like, there's no chance that this isn't going to be Joe Flacco, right?
Zach Wilson is practicing, so you never know. Robert Saleh, of course, playing it close to the vest as to who will open up under center for the New York Jets, but wouldn't be surprised. They have to prepare for both, Nestor.
All right. Well, where are you on the confidence level of all of this? I guess I've talked to Luke at length about this and others. Nobody's seen the team. John Harbaugh hasn't even seen the real team, right? So I think for all of us, it's sort of a weird, wild mystery as to what the Jets might be or as to what the Ravens could be in this case, because we have not seen – I know over – I keep telling my wife, you can go test drive the Ford Bronco Sport if you want. There's no test driving this Ravens offense right now.
No, it's ready, fire, aim. We'll see what they have when they open up against the Jets Sunday. And Ronnie Stanley, Marcus Peters, J.K. Dobbins, are they going to be on the field? If so, what will they look like? So lots of questions for the Ravens. As always, Nestor, I'm always very nervous before a game, especially a game on 9/11 in New York, their home opener. They have a head coach who we saw was very aggressive as a defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. So I think it's going to be a dogfight. I don't think it's going to be an easy one, regardless of who plays for the Baltimore Ravens.
How does anybody bet on this? How do you know who's good, who's not? I mean, it really is like a game of marbles right now, right? Like I have no idea. But this is part of the anticipation for this, and this is also part of the mystery of not playing these preseason games. One thing that I know, none of our guys really got hurt in preseason games awfully, right? So at least we had that going. None of the Rams got hurt, but the Jets went out and sweat. I mean, the Steelers went out, so other teams have gone out and played a little bit. We know more about the Jets than the Jets know about us.
No, there's no question about that. So again, lots of unknowns. It's going to be a great crowd. I imagine they're sold out for their opening day, and they have a chance to beat the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a 7-point favorite or something like that, but haven't paid much attention to it because, like you said, I wouldn't bet on the football game. Why would I? A lot of variables, a lot of unknowns, but they have a lot of talent on their defense, their defensive line, a lot of former number 1 draft picks, so they'll be able to get after Lamar Jackson. And will the Ravens be able to run the ball effectively? Can they generate any kind of a pass rush from the edge when you got guys like Justin Houston gearing up for their umpteenth NFL season?
Well, what do we know? That would be, and I'll talk to you about this on your show on Thursday as well. What do we know about the team? Not as much as I want to know. I know Lamar's a great player.
Lamar had him at 8-3 with a skeleton skeleton staff, right? So
yeah, I've gone back and seen that they would not come back and beat the Colts again, being down 3 touchdowns. They would not come back. They can't play that way. They were very, very, very fortunate last year to win the games that they won in the way that they won them. They had a fortunate start to the season before the injuries kicked in, and then the reality set in. I never thought they were a great team last year. I thought they were a team that was doing some real dipsy-doos there in October and early November to come back and beat the Vikings, come back and beat the Colts last year. When we look back at last year, that was not a dominant effort even when they were winning games.
No, not at all. And I think Luke nailed it last year when he said that when he wondered out loud when Marlon Humphrey went down with his injury, was that the straw that broke the camel's back? And in fact, it was a straw that broke the camel's back. They just couldn't cover anybody back there in that secondary. We had guys back there running around trying to cover Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, guys we've never even heard of, right? Guys that weren't even on the NFL roster in the preseason. So they had nothing but a bunch of street free agents. And still, Lamar Jackson, with his brilliance, was able to bring them back and win game after game. But as long as they have Lamar Jackson under center, Nestor, they can beat anybody in the National Football League, and that speaks to his generational talent.
Well, and that speaks to why they want to give him $50 million, right? Because it doesn't matter if Ronnie Stanley plays left tackle or if J.K. Dobbins is back. You feel like you have Superman in the phone booth, literally.
That's exactly right. They supposedly have made him an improved offer. They're still trying to sign him before Sunday, and anything could happen. And Look, for what he said about not negotiating during the season, he doesn't have to negotiate. If they give him what he wants, there's no negotiations. So whether
I
it's
don't
week
see the
4,
Ravens
5, or
having to give him
6,
anything. The Ravens feel like at the end of the year, they can either pay him full money and sign him, and if he doesn't really want to be here anymore, it's a good thing they didn't give him the money. You know what I
yep,
mean? If at
yep,
the end of the year he wants to go run around and create a trade, and keep in mind they can franchise him. I mean,
they
this could
can.
get even uglier if he goes 2 rounds into the playoffs or a round into the playoffs, or worse, way uglier for him if they're 7-10 somehow, or he gets hurt.
7-10, or he gets hurt, or they go 13-4 and they win the Super Bowl, right? Then we have Joe Flacco 2.0. He will get whatever he wants, either from the Baltimore Ravens or somebody else. And their only recourse would be to franchise him, which of course he doesn't have to show up and play under the franchise tag. Who knows what he's thinking about? But he's a different kind of a cat. He's a generational player, and
we do know that he really likes what he looks like in a Dolphins jersey. That's been right.
Look, he probably likes what he looks like in a Cowboys jersey too. But we've seen players in the past do that. I don't put too much stock in it. I think it's soft negotiating through the media. I think it's
How would you feel
posturing.
about one of your employees putting something other than a Coons logo up? And how would Mr. Coons feel about that? I mean, it's
I would-
literally, it's unbelievable. You're trying to get $200 million, and you're like, I just,
What I would do, I would bring their items to them for the new place of employment, whether it's their toolbox or their items from their desk. I would personally, or maybe I would hire somebody, an Uber driver, just look, take this box over to whatever down the street or up the street or
well,
across
if
the
it were
Beltway.
Lamar Jackson, that's it. So you don't, I take umbrage with this, and not as a fan, but as if I were managing it, I'd say, come on, dude,
again,
you're a grown up, you're a 25-year-old man. You're trying to get $200 million from your employer. Be respectful. Just be respectful. It's disrespectful.
They started it though. They started by negotiating through the media. They leaked out to Adam Schefter that they had offered up more money than Kyler Murray. So be careful what you wish for. If they didn't start that rumor, if they didn't put it out there, then maybe perhaps Lamar Jackson has a different tact. So it's all on how you negotiate and how you look at it.
Well, he's never negotiated a lemonade stand, right? So what the hell does he know about negotiating? I mean, literally, the hell of a quarterback. It's like Bashani says to these guys, you do what you do. You know cars, you maybe you could sell boats or sell anything, but like you couldn't prove to me you know more about boats than cars because you do cars. So like I do radio, I do sports, right? Like, so that's my I just think that this negotiating a $200 million deal, no sane person would take this on without help.
Look, in life, we don't get paid what we deserve. We get paid what we negotiate for. So that be my advice to Mr. Jackson. And he can negotiate for himself. There's nothing wrong with that. He knows what he wants, and all they got to do is come to the plate with. Look, if they
does he know what he wants?
Of course, if they gave him $231 million guaranteed over the next 5 years, he would sign. Absolutely, 100%, he would. Why wouldn't he? If they matched the Deshaun Watson contract,
why wouldn't he take 200?
Because he wants Deshaun Watson money because he's better than Deshaun Watson. And I can make that argument. The guy's a 2019 league MVP. So he's a more accomplished quarterback in the NFL than Deshaun Watson, and he's clean. That's the other part of it. So how can if you're him without an agent, absence of an agent, you can champion your own cause. I can do that.
Lamar's not only clean, he's not filthy, right? Like the other guy's just not clean is a.
He is right. Right. He is the kind of guy that you'd have over your house. You'd want him to be your neighbor. He's clean cut. He really is. He hangs out with the young guys, whatever. But that's what young people do these days. But on game day, he's always ready. He's prepared. He practices. Clearly, he practices hard in the off season. He's gotten better every year. And he's bigger and stronger this year. Hopefully, he's just as fast. He may even be faster, Nestor. We'll see Sunday what he looks like.
We don't get faster. We really don't.
Well, he might though. He is Superman. But let's see. We'll have a lot of answers to our questions come Sunday. Hopefully, the team stays healthy. They come out of that game with abundance of health. But let's see what happens up there in New York. But as we've seen in the topsy-turvy National Football League, there's going to be a lot of upsets come Sunday, and hopefully the Ravens aren't on an upset list. Hopefully they come out of New York 1-0 coming home to face the Miami Dolphins, the team that we just talked about, the uniform.
Well, what do you know? I mean, and I talked to Luke about this. As we step into this, what do you feel like you know about the Ravens? What's going to be good about them? What's going to be effective about them? Oh, they got a good coach. I'm gonna give you that. They got a world-class quarterback. Then I go through the rest of it and I say, I don't know how Zeitler's going to play. I don't know how these linemen are going to play. I don't know if Gus Edwards is going to get on the field, if Jake. I think we know Mark Andrews. Jackson to Andrews is something we can count on. We saw that 115 times last year, right? Like there were 1,500, 1,300 yards, whatever it was with him. The issues for me are the Batemans and the Queens and the guys that need to make that net. Even Marlon Humphrey, who wasn't much last year, right? He thinks a lot of himself, but to go out and play 17 games this year and play at a Pro Bowl level and play to his contract, I'm not sure we're going to get that out of him. I mean, on the field. So I have too many questions right now to say they should be a 7-point favorite or they're going to win 11 games or any of that. I just have too many questions about them to feel really confident. They go beat the Jets 37-10 on Sunday. I'll feel a lot better about them. So will you. So will everybody. But until I see that, I don't have confidence in that because I watched this team scuffle last year, then get unhealthy, then come back this year with all sorts of the question marks we're talking about. You know, all of Nick Boyle's, they're all a question mark right now.
Well, here are the answers. They have a great owner, check. They have a great front office, check. Great head coach, check. Great quarterback, check. Great special teams, check. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks.
But the owner doesn't play on Sunday. The coach plays.
No, but he's important though. But the coach is important though. He's very important with culture and everything else he puts in place. The owners, look, you can't win without a great owner. Look at the Cleveland Browns and that cesspool over there. So they're very strong, with ownership, front office, head coach, quarterback, special teams. Then you have your offense and your defense, and we'll see what that looks like. But they do have strength in certain areas and evolving strength, evolving strength at other areas. But we won't know, Nest, until we see what they look like. Look, they may come out look like world beaters, and they may not. But either way, it's going to be chapter 1 of 17, right? So if they blow out the Jets 52-0, it means they'll finish between 1 and 16, and if they lose, they'll finish someplace between 0 and 17. That's all we could be assured of.
Well, if they lose to the Jets, it would really be quite a thud, right? I mean, if this goes wrong on Monday, it changes the complexion of the season. Even if the Jets happen to be good this year, we never know. Hell, the Orioles are good. You never know. But this would be it would be a devastating start to the season to lose to the Jets. I mean, all the pressure's on the Ravens in this game.
I don't disagree with you, but it's just, to me, no, it's just one game. It's just one game. I don't think you can take anything more than it's just one game, win, lose, or draw. It's just one game. It's 1/17th of the season. Do you want to get a win? Absolutely, you want to get a win. But the season isn't lost if they lose to the Jets. Now, coming home to Miami and against the Dolphins, if they lose to the Dolphins and you start up 0-2, then it might be time to start pressing the panic button. But I don't think that a loss to the Jets would be devastating. It would be a good thing, though. That's for sure.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. He will be back here on Thursday between 3 and 5. Again on Sunday morning. The former Sunday Sports Voice, now findable at D Koulatsos Show out on the internet. So I've got the schedule here for the weekend. And, as much as I'm going to be home watching the game on TV, as you well know, Bills and Rams Thursday night, great kickoff to the season. But, I mean, all along this, there's questions about all of these franchises. Like, watching the Browns have to go play the Panthers and figuring out how they get out of their own way. Watching these franchises like Jacksonville and teams trying to crawl back up with players that have picked in the top. Even the Jets. The Jets are an interesting team in that they've done some drafting here the last couple of years. Are they going to and they got a coach. Are they going to go out and perform on Sunday? And I think that's throughout the league because I don't know that there's a lot of places. Seattle plays on Monday night. They got to play Russell Wilson at home, and that'll be all. But they stink. There's some places where they stink, but not a lot of places where the team has no hope, right? That's the beauty of this league as we go into this. Everybody thinks they can win 9 or 10 games. Everybody.
Yeah, they do. It's a league of hopefuls, and it's a league that also rewards poor performance via the NFL draft, giving those poor performing teams a chance to rise from the ashes and be competitive one day. But you're right, there's a lot of compelling storylines, a lot of matchups out there we're going to be curious to see, and no shortage of that around the league. That's why we love watching the NFL.
Well, Steelers getting together with the Bengals, right? Everybody's down on the Steelers. The Bengals are defending everything. The game's in the jungle, right? Like it's all the Steelers don't have a quarterback. Watch the Steelers go out and beat the Bengals. So Bengals are 6.5-point favorite at home. Take the Steelers.
Take the
That's
Steelers.
That's my lock of the week. Lock it up, Dennis. I'm gonna make picks on your show on Thursday. I think
I
that's what
agree with you.
doing.
I agree with you, and here's why. I saw an article where all these sports writers were picking division winners, and no one, I think, out of 40 writers, picked the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the AFC North. You can bet your every dollar you have that Mike Tomlin loves that kind of stuff. Puts it up on the. I'll bet you that's up on the wall in big print.
I bet 6.5 is up on the wall. We're 6.5-point favorites underdogs this week.
Underdogs, yeah, and we can't win the division, right? So I wouldn't count Mike Tomlin out any more than I would ever count John Harbaugh and his team out. Never. I mean, the guy has never had a losing season. People just aren't paying attention, and I'm with you. I like the Steelers. I think they'll beat them straight up. Never mind the points. Don't know how, but they will.
Give me a team that you're watching that's not the Ravens. Give me a team that you're like, this team's going to be better than you think. I mean, last year, the Rams, the Bengals, there's a lot of things going on. Who's a team of interest to you this year?
You know what? I hate to say it, but it's the Patriots. I want to see what Bill Belichick does in year 2 with Mac Jones, the Mac Jones experiment, year 2 without Tom Brady. This is a coach who has a lot riding on his reputation, his legacy. He hasn't drafted very well as a general manager of that franchise. So to me, I got a close side because he's got to face Josh Allen now twice a year. The Bills, I mean, they're world beaters. People are picking them to win the Super Bowl this year. So let's see how Bill Belichick does in that division.
I'm interested in the Broncos in taking on Russell Wilson. I'm interested in all these quarterbacks and how they age and how they move around, right? I mean, Joe Flacco went out to Denver, fell apart, right? They draft all these kids, they fall apart. They've gotten a decorated quarterback now, but more than that, the amount of money that Denver has sunk into him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't look at Russell Wilson in 2022 and say that's an elite quarterback to me. Accomplished all of that. But I would say right now, if you were going to give me Russell Wilson instead of Lamar, I'd take Lamar. You're going to give me Russell Wilson instead of 10 other quarterbacks, given size, stature, where he is, the way they play the game, what's going on in Seattle, bringing him in, that you feel like you import a savior, whether it's Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, you're bringing Matt Ryan in Indianapolis. I would say Matt Ryan will have a better year in Indianapolis than a lot of people think he's going to have. So I've always thought a lot of him as a quarterback. I've never really thought a lot about the help. That whole point where you're 38, 39, 40, and you can't do it, I think Tom Brady's ended that, right? The fact that Joe Flacco can't win on Sunday because he's 37, we can't win if he's 37 if he has no protection and Justin Houston's eating him up or is eating him up on Sunday. But if you let Joe Flacco sit back there and you give him 4 seconds and you give him some credible receivers in a running game and a decent down and distance, Joe Flacco will beat you. And Matt Ryan will beat you. Probably Russell Wilson would beat you too. But I don't think as much of him from that perspective. So when I see these teams moving quarterbacks around, I'm like, new quarterbacks, new places, veteran faces, big contracts. What does that mean? And will they be better? And that to me is the part of, we don't see it in preseason. That's the part of week 1 where I'm going to step up and say, what do the Titans look like? What do the Packers look like? What do all of these teams that have Super Bowl capable teams, what's their quarterback look like in week 1?
No question about it. The quarterback, the offensive line, the running backs, receivers, tight ends, defense, special teams, it all goes into one big ball of wax, and it's going to be compelling, interesting television as always. And for one, I can't wait for the opening weekend, beginning with Thursday night's game. That's a fantastic matchup to open up the season with.
All right, Dan. Well, I'll be ready for you on Thursday, 3 until 5. Dennis Koulatsos show heard here on WNST AM 1570 in Baltimore Positive from 3 until 5 on Thursday. Again on Sunday morning to get you ready for the miracle in the Meadowlands. Perhaps Joe Flacco, certainly Lamar Jackson, and a great start to the season. Dennis, we wait all year for this, right? I mean, we've been at this since first week of February, waiting for week 1. So enjoy the games this week. I'll look forward to being on your show on Thursday, bro.
You got it, sir. Stay well. Thank you.
Dennis Koulatsos, he's a coon. So, by the way, last thing before I let you go. Gold watermelon. Got you gold watermelon
Yes.
about a month ago now. All right. So you know this. I bought you one and me one. Same exact size. You ate yours the first night with all your coon sport, buddy. I have made the mistake of leaving mine here through all of my travels. I went to Canada last week. I'm running through Quebec, Ontario, come home. Last night we came home in the refrigerator. My wife slices it in half so I can scoop it out, right? You know how I like to do it with the scooper. The second is she has these little plastic bras. They sit on top of the watermelon and hold it tight. I came home and I thought, man, I didn't eat that gold watermelon. I'm going to have to throw it out. Fresh as the day I
Really?
bought it. I
No
just want to let
kidding.
you know, last night I was sitting there eating gold watermelon in September, and I'm like,
How many weeks?
yeah.
3 weeks now?
Well, yeah, it was the second week. Yeah, I think I picked that at like the 18th or the 19th
Wow.
of
And it was still good.
complete. I was
That's
shocked. I thought it
that's
was going to
amazing.
fall apart. I have a good refrigerator, a good wife, and a good
Hey,
cover, and a delicious grower of gold watermelons. I just wanted to let you know that I'm still enjoying gold watermelon. Although peach cake's over, I missed that. I screwed that up.
I did get some peach cake this year, so good stuff.
Lucky you. Dennis Koulatsos will be here on Thursday. It'll be Lucky Us from 3 until 5 again on Sunday morning. If you want to get real lucky, make sure you're purchasing a vehicle at a Coons Baltimore Ford Security Boulevard. You can always find Dennis around here. And of course, our WNST tech service with all breaking news, scratches, injuries, all that stuff will be happening all week long with Luke out in Owings Mills as we get ready. Our next Maryland Crab Cake Tour stop is next Friday before the Dolphins game. We're going to be at Union Brewing with Adam Benish. I'm going to have some good beer, some Eddie Murray, some Ed Reed. We're going to be doing it all. And we're going to be eating the crab cake from the local oyster. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery in conjunction with Goodwill, Window Nation, and of course, our friends at Restaurant Week and the Maryland Restaurant Association kicking off next week. Save some money, eat some great food, do what I did all of August. Go eat out. It's Restaurant Week. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking. Baltimore, positive.